and a really heartwarming welcome to High Noon live on LinkedIn. Today is a really special day because it's my favorite topic around energy is everything. And in studio today with me is Nikki Robotham, who's a leader, an author, a coach, a speaker. And I've known Nikki for many, many years, which is really terrific to have a friend in the studio with me today and to speak about topics that we both care a lot about. So welcome, Nikki, and it's really terrific to be chatting here in a more formal setting, but of course, as friends, we'll have it casual, we'll have it fun, and we'll go with the flow, shall we?
Absolutely, and thank you for having me.
Pleasure. And Nikki, I'm just going to read a quote here. You were quoted in Hello Johannesburg, and the quote is lovely because actually it's quite similar in wording to what I use.
Yeah.
So Nikki Robotham is a woman on a mission to help everyday people create an amazing flow of energy that allows them to live their best lives. So my purpose on the planet is to share with people biohacks on resilience and how they can live their most optimal life. So there we go. Best lives, optimal life, biohacks, resilience, bounce forward. There's a lot of similarities that we have.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to tell the audience straight away that we both love the Enneagram and we are both the same personality types. Type 3s on the Enneagram. I would guess, and I'm not sure, do you have a type 2 wing?
I seem to recall, I can't tell you off the top of my head, but most probably.
I think so. You've got a great people orientation, and that's often the type 2 wing, which is superb.
Yeah.
Great. So, Nikki, let's jump right in. Energy is everything. And you and I, as businesswomen and speakers and coaches and leaders, we both know that. Yeah. And I certainly had burnout, and I've told people before, hand on heart, it's here's my vulnerability moment. And I was 32 at the time, I'm now 55, but I recall it vividly. It wasn't a weekend burnout or a week burnout, it was a full month in bed. And it was quite horrendous, actually. My children were like 2 and 3 at the time. My late husband looked after them, and I got up with grit and mental go every morning, shuffled my way to the bedroom door, and he said, back to bed. And actually, I really needed that 1 month off and in bed, but I was incredibly embarrassed, a lot of shame around that. So you have written 2 books. I have read Finding Flow, and I love the practicality in that. We'll get to both books in the second and third segment. But let's just talk about energy is everything. I mean, if we look at our mitochondria, our cells in our body, we vibrate at a certain energy. In fact, we do know from an energy perspective that our heads emit about 10 centimeters of energy, but our heart emits about 90 centimeters of energy. So I talk a lot to people about emotional intelligence and the fact that as humans, emotions drive people and people drive performance. And we can feel this emotional exchange even when we're not speaking. So what's your take on that in terms of the energy vibration that humans give off?
It's foundational for everything in my life.
Yeah.
And I think it's been part of my journey and really understanding that we have to be intentional about managing it every day, making those small tweaks to bring it back, to really build that foundation for resilience within our lives. Because it makes our lives easeful, but also the people around us as well. Because as you mentioned, people feel it. It's contagious.
Yep, it is.
And I don't think many people have really experienced that until they really tune back into those emotions and their bodies. And that's often why when I'm talking to people, especially if it's a tough conversation, I'll often just put my hand on my heart, almost just to center myself back in.
Beautiful.
And really feel that energy back into my body, because it's then intentional around how I show up.
Yes.
It's intentional around I walk into a room and the energy that I bring to a conversation. And also knowing that when my energy isn't quite there, it's maybe time to step back a bit, take that break until I'm ready to come back with my best energy. Because we only get one shot at this life.
Yep.
And we need to do it in a way that we are bringing our best energy to everything that we do, to the people that we love, our work, our relationships. It's the most important.
Lovely. Your first sentence really struck gold for me, and that's the intentional nature of understanding your energy, when to step in, when to step out, how to ground yourself, whether it's a physical body language movement that you have to anchor yourself, which is all really huge macro tips on how we can just do this daily and integrate it. Because the thing that really interests me is people say, gee, Joni, I'm really tired and things have been tough of late and I need a holiday. And I'm saying, how do you integrate that holiday feeling intentionally on a daily basis? So give us another tip, Nikki, of what you do, maybe 7 days a week to be intentional about your energy.
So, and in my first book, 7 Steps to Finding Flow, I talk about creating those pauses for potency.
Yes.
And that for me is one of my favorite tips around really managing our resilience daily. It doesn't have to be waiting for a holiday at the end of the year or that weekend or, because we rush into that and then we collapse. It's around how do you do that and weave that into your day, whether it be time to just breathe, that micro break between meetings or whatever you're rushing between, to actually just center back in. Check in with how you're feeling. Where's your energy at? And one thing I said to someone the other day is give yourself an energy score. And it doesn't have to be with judgment. You can do it 7 out of 10. It can be a percentage for your battery. And then understand what is, really uplifting that energy and what's draining it. Because the balance should be right. And if we're not conscious about that daily, it's a very slippery slope.
Exactly.
To the point where it doesn't serve us.
Yeah. It's so funny that you mentioned that because I've got the book here. And guess what was my favorite chapter? Yes, a pause for potency. It was really, I love this chapter. And I love the Abraham Lincoln quote that you have to open the chapter. If you give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, I will spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe. And we really need to do that. We need to be far more intentional about it. And the other thing I love about this book, now we're stepping ahead of ourselves, as you and I do, but it doesn't matter because this is going to be just a fun, natural conversation. We were going to chat about this after the break, but the thing I really love about this book, because I'm a type 3 practical person, is really your journal prompts you have in here and what you can do to pause for potency. So after the break, we are going to step right into this book and I'm going to share my favorite things out of your book, if that's okay.
Can't wait.